Hey YouTube, welcome again to my channel, Frugal Samurai here. As you can see in the background, I'm not filming in my usual Sydney studio. I'm actually here on the south coast in Gerora, and I am here on a birthday party with my good friend Michael Taylor. I thought I'd get Michael out at very short notice. He is a real estate agent and also a solicitor, and the joint head of Stanton Taylor in Penrith, one of the largest real estate agencies in Sydney. So can you just tell our audience just a very brief background, who you are, how did you get started in real estate, and also your experience today?
Okay, so it's a family-run business, third generation. Grandfather started it in 1959. So this year will be our 60th year as Stanton Taylor.
Awesome.
As I studied law, I worked in the business. So I did about 6 years, I think, while I was at university, doing property management, a little bit of selling, a little bit of everything, really.
Yeah. Okay.
And learned all aspects of the business. But my intention was never to stay in property. I went off and made a career in law. And after we had children and family needs changed, we moved back to Penrith, and the business was calling. My old man wanted me to come back for a few years. And eventually it just suited my lifestyle to make that change.
Nice.
And law and property do have quite a lot of synchronicities. So it was an easy transition to come back, and it's been really nice.
So you've got about 15 years experience
total
in the market. So during that time, you must have obviously seen a lot of ups and downs. Can you take us through the different ones and what you did?
There's lots of things that influence the market. So interest rates obviously have been interesting to watch as they go up and down. I mean, we haven't seen in my time the high interest rates of the 80s. But they have been up around sort of 6-7%. And then to compare that to now, where you're sub 3% in most cases. It really does influence the type of buyer that you see and the demand for property. Prices in Penrith, we're sort of the entry point to the Sydney market. So there's always a lot of investor interest and a lot of first home buyer interest, because one, it's affordable for first home buyers, and two, investors can get good yields with their rents. But at the moment, what we're seeing, it's a tougher market, and with COVID and other influences like that, investors seem to have shied away a little, but there's still first home buyer interest. I mean, people need somewhere to live.
There is a lot of uncertainty in the market right now through COVID. So what are some things that you're seeing in the market, and some things that potentially future buyers can protect themselves against?
Okay. Well, at the moment, it's really interesting being an agent, because you have to arm yourself with a lot of information. So if you're talking to your average buyer who's thinking about investing, or even a first home buyer, they've obviously got COVID on their mind. And so you need to be aware of how that's affected by finance, and what they need to do to navigate around COVID, I suppose. That's just one thing. You've always got to have your finger on the pulse with development potential for investors. You've got to have your finger on the pulse with changes for first home buyers, because the grants often change. So it's really important to arm yourself with a lot of information. And there's a lot of information out there available for purchasers. So you need to be able to be on top of that and cope with the questions that you might be hit with. Quite often, first home buyers especially aren't really up to date with finance and how to get it. So if you've got some good contacts who know what they're doing and can give good advice, that's a really good start to building confidence with your buyers.
Like a broker, for example?
Exactly. So if you have a few good brokers that you can recommend people go see, often they've spoken to somebody before they get to the agent point in any event, but often they're not prepared. So if you're prepared to help them when they come to you like that, you're much better off in terms of strike rate. So
nice.
Keeping up with grants and concessions and how those things work is always really helpful as well.
That's where you put your lawyer hat on.
But it's important for agents to know as well. Totally. Being a lawyer, more contractual type issues. So if you're able to advise clients very early on, they won't get tripped up with hidden things in contracts,
Yeah.
special conditions and things like that, which your average buyer just can't sit and read 100 pages of contract and know what they're looking at. It's very confusing.
You have the luxury, I guess, of being an agent and a lawyer.
Yep.
Can you take us through your day-to-day?
Sure. Yeah. My day is all over the place because being an agent, I manage 10 property managers who look after quite a large number of properties.
Yep.
So quite often it's just zigging and zagging to try and deal with problems or answer a question or something of that nature. At the moment, on that side of the agent perspective, COVID is a really big influencer.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that have changed around tenancy laws.
Yeah.
Tenants can't be evicted for arrears when they're COVID affected for at least 90 days.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting trying to educate your clients about that as well, because you have landlords that aren't receiving rent.
Yeah.
And they want some answers and some action, but
Yeah.
you can't necessarily give it. So a fair chunk of my day goes into that. And then on the sales side of the equation, it's just keeping that pipeline going. So it's really important with sales staff just to keep out there and keep hunting for that next listing. At the moment, there's a lot of strata type listings around and not so many houses.
Yeah.
Which is just interesting because it tells you that investors are selling, because it's usually an investor that holds that type of property, but they're not the buyers that are out there at the moment. So we're just trying to work that jigsaw puzzle and find the right pieces to fit.
How do you guys actually obtain the listing from a seller's perspective? How do you guys do
Good
that?
question. Lots of ways. So a really effective way is to market around current listings, either sold or just listed.
Yeah.
So marketing the area around those properties is really effective. Asking for referrals is really important, and that's a really good strategy for any business. If you have a good interaction with any client, whether it's a customer or a client, ask for a referral, because they won't often think of it straight away to refer to you.
Yeah.
And if you're asking if you ask the right way, do you have a friend or a family member that might be thinking of selling, is better than, can you get me another listing? Can you help me with? Yeah. Who do you know that might want to
sell? Can you line my pockets?
Yeah, exactly. So there's just little ways like that, and then marketing to our existing client base as well is really effective.
Nice.
So if you stay front of mind as an agent, you service your existing clients well, often they'll think of you first when the question comes up.
In your experience, you've obviously seen a lot of people come and go in terms of buyers and sellers.
Yep.
So what are the common mistakes that we should avoid?
I think for buyers, when I put my lawyer hat on, I'm often telling them to be calm and have confidence, because it's a really big transaction and it can be quite daunting. But if you get in and have a go, there's not a lot that can go wrong if you've got the right kind of help.
Sure.
So understanding cooling off periods and how to negotiate, those are really common things, but if you don't have a good understanding of them, you can get tripped up really easily.
Yeah, right.
Knowing when to talk to your solicitor versus waiting until it's too late can often be a big difference maker.
Yeah.
So a contract, buyers always have cooling off rights in their favour.
Yep.
But the vendor doesn't have to give you anything. You can ask questions, but they can say no to everything.
Right.
So it's really important to, when you're buying, speak to your broker to find out how much you can borrow. But before you sign anything, get your lawyer to have a look at the contract.
Yeah.
Because there's often 3 or 4 or 5 pressure points that we're looking for that we want to make sure aren't in that contract before you sign.
Such as?
You want to make sure that the ability to rescind the contract and get out if you can't get your finance or you just change your mind, any reason. A buyer can back out for any reason. You want to make sure that ability swings both ways. It's not just for the vendor.
Sure.
So we're looking for that. We're looking at land tax. We're looking at GST and making sure if it's a new property that GST is included in the purchase price. I've had a couple of rude shocks where you anticipate it will be included, but it's not. And so if you're adding GST on, I mean, that makes a big difference to somebody. Yeah.
Because you also look at on the commercial front as well, not just residential.
Absolutely. Yeah. And brand new residential property can have GST attaching to it, but it has to be included in the purchase price.
Yeah, right. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so finally, is there any lasting words of advice that you give our audience?
Look,
Doesn't have to be real estate, could be anything personal finance related.
no, in terms of property, I love property, obviously, and I'm biased because I'm an agent and I grew up as an agent and my family are all agents.
All agents.
But looking historically at property, I just can't see in Australia, with the way that we love property and Australians desire property, I can't ever see it being a bad investment. And history has shown us that it just keeps going up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
There's lots of scary talk about bubbles bursting and things of that nature in the media, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So, stick with property, buy carefully, look at yields, understand what you can and can't afford. Don't push yourself too far.
Yep.
But you can't go too far wrong with property.
Nice. Well, thank you, Michael, and thanks, guys, for watching. As you can see, we're trying to do our best to social distance during this current time. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. It is something different. And if you like my videos, please hit that subscribe button below, turn the bell on, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm doing what I do best in my downtime, and that's to have a bit of a fish. I just wanted to have a very quick public service announcement. Obviously, the second wave of COVID-19 is on our doorstep for Sydney. Just wanted to remind everyone to be vigilant, stay safe, and to work together on this. I know if we can work together and do the right thing, we can come out of it on the other side. So stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.